All right. So, as we all know, RHONY went left. Everybody's blaming Eric Fuller. They dragging that poor producer. Listen, he ain't never seen a colorism, racist conversation that he ain't never liked in his life. Like, it's what is going on? I mean, how do y'all want to start this off? Because I have just so many thoughts. Like, do we need an overview? A real, like, where you want to go?
I mean, honestly, just starting off at the conversation at hand. Why did you make up that entire story and think that Ubah wasn't going to check you on it? You actually were more like temperature checking after the fact when Ubah went out and started wilding out on the producers, because they caught all of that on footage. She wasn't pressed before because she wasn't even coming in. Remember, after a while, she kept coming out of the room and seeing like
well,
how
damn,
everybody
Daniel.
was.
Damn, you started at the end. Can we get a little Jesus?
Sorry, but the whole thing. I think that's what sticks with me the most is why she did that. Let's start off with why. So sorry.
Go ahead, Jared. You about to say something?
Well, I was going to jump in on where Danielle was, but she said she started at the end. But another issue that I had, actually, no, this is a good place to put this because you just brought up Eric Fuller. And what I noticed too was that in the scene when after Ubah talked to Jessel and she came storming out of the room, Bren was like laughing and literally giving Eric Fuller a hug. And that really bothered me because I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of gave me like a sense of like her talking to him like, yeah, I done set it off. I did that scene, yada, yada, yada. And it just completely rubbed me the wrong way.
For me, I agree with both of you guys because let's be very clear. Everyone was aware of what just happened. I watched that episode before we decided that we were going to review this. I probably watched the episode twice. I watched it sober and then I watched it high. I got so upset watching it because I watched everyone around them. And my thing that stuck out to me that really bothers me, and I hope they bring it up at the reunion, was Raquel getting mad at Jessel for telling Ubah. And what was so funny about it was that if you listen to Ubah say what Jessel did, Jessel went into the room and said, she didn't say, hey, Brynn said da da da. She said, Ubah, why would you say that to Brynn if you know that Brynn was SA'd? And that's when Ubah loses her shit. So Jessel was being a good friend, but she also wasn't going in there to be messy. And the fact that everyone's upset, like they got mad with Jessel because Jessel said it. Could you imagine had Jessel not done that and we would have had to wait all the way to reunion?
Right. Well, yeah, we would have had to wait always to reunion. And to top it off too with that, the fact that nobody had Jessel's back was wild. And honestly, at
Jessel or Ubah?
Both.
Right, yeah, right.
Both. When Jessel opened her mouth, they were more worried about her being a damn pigeon than what the story she was telling. And then when Ubah came in, they were more concerned of her losing her shit, calling production out the closet versus no, this bitch just lied to me. And then she put this type of her. That's different. And again, as I would say, as the resident queen bee on here, girls girl or not. I'm saying as far as being a girl's girl or I'm joking. Not a girl's girl. But on that level, those are just certain things that women just don't do. And when you talk about SA, that's a very sensitive subject because almost every woman in that room has definitely gone through a similar experience or been in the realm or been around something like that. So you should have known that was going to blow up the way it was. The fact that they were shocked that Ubah was so blown up was actually more mind blowing to me. How mad they were, how upset she really was. I was like, wait,
as a man, I would like to ask this question, and in the comments, don't eat me up. This is just an honest question. Even Ubah saying, because let's be very clear, Ubah never said that she should suck a dick. Ubah never said that. Bren is the one that actually said it.
Right.
If I know that you were assaulted and we're arguing back and forth, and I say, well, I know I deserve this job. I don't know what you did to get this job. What's the link? I don't understand the link. I don't, she know I got sexual, and she's going to say something like that. I don't understand the link of that. Can someone explain the link to me? Why that, like, why everybody was like, and she knows this? Like, I didn't understand it.
You want to know what's so crazy about that? That's why the idea popped in my brain. First of all, you don't even weaponize nothing like that in an argument. And bitches get into arguments, they're nasty. But for the way that Ubah said that to Bren, when she said, I don't know what you did for this job, because she never said getting the dick sucked. She said, I don't know what you're doing for this job. She was insinuating that Bren was a hoe versus you was out there. Well, she wasn't, I don't think Ubah was not even thinking about SA.
Right.
She was really going for she was really saying, Bren, you a hoe. You out here, you move crazy. That's what she was insinuating.
Because also, and then correct me if I'm wrong, because wasn't this a few hours after Brynn was flopping around on the beach trying to flirt with the lifeguard or whatever the hell she was doing?
Yes.
Now, there is a thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I do know, I mean, separately from the Ubah and the Bren situation, over-sexuality can be a symptom of being sexually assaulted.
Yeah,
right.
That is a symptom. But my thing is, I don't even think the girlies really thought that was that big of a deal or even sought that connection until Bren brought those two things together. Like, for her to, and she says this, and then this is the thing. She is creating this connection off of something that Ubah never said.
Right.
And everyone was present when Bren said, oh, what, I should put a D in my mouth? Everyone's there, and then they have a conversation without Ubah there, saying, "Hey, she really got to stop calling Brynn a slut, calling her like they got to stop doing it. That's something that really triggers her." I go ahead.
She had Raquel crying for her as if she knew what she felt like she was going through. I was like, well, now hold on. What do you? For a woman of color, she
didn't say a woman of color. Let's be very clear what Bren said. Let's be very clear about what Bren said.
She didn't say that. She said for a black woman.
For a black woman.
And that's what pissed me off the most, because that was even before she even brought up the whole SA thing. She already had the whole group of women calling her for whatever fucking reason, which I didn't understand. And Raquel pipes in talking about, well, I know how it is as a black woman. When you try, as if Ubah is not a fucking black woman and also the darkest skinned woman on the cast. Like, y'all don't think she went through the same shit, and y'all gonna sit here calling white passing Brynn, talking about, oh, it must be so hard for her. Bitch, please. And then
so
she already had that.
Go ahead, go.
And then goes into the SA after all that.
Yes, but then this is the crazy part. It's so hard for a black woman to make money and be successful and not have this put on their name. But 5 to 10 minutes earlier, oh, what? You're in Talbot's. You're in Dress Barn. Aren't you diminishing her job? Let's be very clear. When they were getting into the argument and they were in the jacuzzi and Ubah got up and sat down in front of her face, you can tell in that moment, Ubah wanted to have a serious conversation. You can see it on everyone's faces. And then what's the first thing that Bren did right after that? You're on commercial and I'm on private jets. And that is when Ubah decided to hit her right back and say, okay, with whose husband? Because again, you are creating the narrative around yourself. Last episode, you wanted to have phone sex. Yes, it was a joke, but that's not a joke. And everybody on that cast looking at Ubah funny, every black woman or male that watched that show looked at Ubah like, oh, that's a real one. Aaron, Ubah had your back. You should be weirded out that Bren wants to have, even joking, have phone sex with your man.
Girl, she started, let's get past that. We want to go back to the beginning. Bren did that shit last season at their wedding anniversary.
Yes.
And was talking about going off on, she wanted to tag team the father, rest his soul, and the husband.
It's just
the girl's sick.
I can speak for myself. I've been in situations like that where if it weren't for the Jessel of it all, how easily the world can make you look like the bad guy, or whoever's involved can make you look like the bad guy. And I don't appreciate how flippant these girls were. And it's like, is colorism or just being white passing that strong where everyone this season has said that, or at least argued with Brynn about something that she has said about them that wasn't true. But somehow when it goes against Ubah, y'all don't believe Ubah? Like I didn't understand that. Ubah had to call on Allah and take her firstborn for y'all to believe her?
Can you imagine? They even played remember when they played all the clips back on that last episode
about her lying,
planting all her fucking lies. They played back every seed that she ever planted, from the pregnancy scare with old Becky to everything. They played everything back. You started all the shit. And what can turn out as something playful. What happened is your playful, dry, passive humor you have. It just did. This was a nasty landing. She didn't think this shit was gonna land like that. That's what happened. She got fucked up.
I couldn't agree more. The other Danielle say something?
No.
I was telling you to say you cut out the other part for me. Just when it comes to like the whole race thing, you can be black. You can have as much black in you as you want. But let's be very clear. If you are not showing up in that world, is showing up in the world, that your phenotype is not Jarrett's, mine, or Danielle's, sis, the world is not going to treat you like you're black. So for you to call on this black card, for you to get sympathy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For you to call on this black card because of the people that are around you. She said that around Raquel because she wanted Raquel to be on her side because she felt like Raquel would relate to that.
And did.
And she did.
And yes. And then again, like Danielle said, or Jared, you did it against the blackest bitch on the cast.
The blackest.
I
don't like it.
Disgusting.
Right.
Disgusting. Because like I said, I was trying to figure out the link between the sexual assault and saying you F her job. I was trying to find that link. I was more so focused on her weaponizing race in that way that she did. And then using it so artfully against these people. And then also somehow still being able to use the privilege of being white passing. That was a Jedi mind trick. Go ahead, Jared.
Just the fact that you, in one altercation, weaponized race and weaponized sexual assault. And then after it was all wrapped up, you still felt like you didn't do anything wrong. That's some crazy ass behavior.
Temperature checking, walking back in that room, temperature checking, having conversations. Me and Danielle calling them, is the refrigerator still in the kitchen conversations? You know, like when you're trying to gauge if somebody mad at you, so you just bring up some bull, like, hey, is the refrigerator still in the kitchen? Just to see how they respond.
Are we going horseback riding?
Yes.
Right.
And then this was the part that fucking killed me. And I'm like, oh, now y'all can clock it. When she left first and then she texts Aaron like, hey, are you guys staying? Because she didn't want them to sit around and talk or at least continue the trip without her. And now my last point that I'm going to say about this, for me, my last point I'm going to say about this is just from a producer standpoint, I think Jared, you're onto something when you said about the hugging, like, oh, look what I did. The next morning, she was in the living room with all those producers, and Bren being the person that started all this trouble and them recognizing that, they shut down that trip because the rest of the cast wanted Bren gone.
Yeah.
They ruined that. They ended that trip for everyone because the cast wanted Bren gone. If that were Ubah, the trip would have continued on.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. The trip would have continued on.
Not a fan. I will say this is not it's a different situation than Phaedra back 8 years ago, but nonetheless, it's still, you don't play with shit like that. Nasty, like I said, whatever was a joke, or you were just attention seeking or victim, or you trying to be a victim and wanting attention. It was just all wrong. And like you said, Jared, you doing the race and the essay, it's just too much. She was like a bad musician, like a bad magician. She was trying to make us see one thing, and like you said, Aaron, we were so focused on one thing that we were so sidetracked from the other shit that she pulled. So she actually had us bamboozled on 2 different sets, but we were trying to figure out what could we be more mad at her about.
No, that's a fact. So just kind of like put a bow on this. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I'm gonna answer it first. Should Brynn come back next season? For me, no. Jared?
No.
Danielle?
Absolutely not.
And just like that, we've gotten rid of Brynn.
Bye.
And she needs
you need
to
leave.
You need to leave. Goodbye, Kyle. By the way, just a rumor. I mean, not a rumor. She confirmed it. Did you know that she was supposed to be on Vanderpump Rules? Did you know that?
Brynn?
No.
Yes, she was.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, she's very close friends with Pandora, Lisa and Ken's daughter.
Grew
up with her husband. She might Pandy need to check and make sure she. Let me stop because now I know about her history. I ain't got time for nobody to say you did it. All right, let me stop. All right, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in for our little segment about this Brynn and Ubah stuff. It upset us because we full of melanin and we don't like when people do shit like that.
I don't like that.
No.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, should I? Whatever. Bye, guys. Hold on.